Hi, and welcome back to another AnyRPG Development Livestream. In these videos, you can watch the live development of the AnyRPG Engine, a free and open source role-playing game engine designed in Unity and written in C#. If you don't already have a copy of AnyRPG, you can pick one up from anyrpg.org/downloads in both Unity package and source code format. You can also download A Lost Soul, the free playable game that I work on in these episodes, at the same page. In this episode, we will be adding in a jewel crafting vendor and some recipes using free assets. And I've been waiting for a while to fill in this empty spot here in the Merchant's Bazaar. So we've got a cloth vendor over here, and we've got a weapons vendor, and we have a leather armor vendor, and we have an plate armor vendor, but there's this nice empty spot. So we're going to add in the jewel crafting vendor today. So the free assets that we'll be using from the Unity asset store are the free medieval props assets pack by Ferocious Industries, and it's got this really nice table here that's like for more advanced crafting like alchemy and jewel crafting. We're going to be using the Blacksmith's Forge. It's got a nice toolkit here, and this is by 3D Forge. We will be using the hand-painted forge by Ferrolit, and it's got this kind of cool whetstone in here with a nice handle on it. We'll be using the Girl with Clothes Worker set by Katlia, and this set, actually, it's really cool. Originally, I'd given it a bit of a low rating because the clothes weren't compatible with a humanoid rig and mesh, so you couldn't actually really use it in your game. And Katlia actually responded to my rating of it, and she updated it with a humanoid rig a few days ago. And so that's super cool because this is awesome, and I'm really happy to be able to use it in the game. And I actually use one of Katlia's other sets here, the fantasy medieval weapons, and this is actually the starter weapon set in the game, and I really love it because it's got this sort of cool, like, semi-stylized, not quite low poly look with like the worn like battle scratches and stuff. So anyway, this will be our jewel crafting vendor, and for the gem icons, I'm going to be using this now deprecated free 48 gems icons pack. It's too bad that it's deprecated. If you manage to pick it up beforehand, it's got the largest variety of icons for gems that were available for free on the Unity asset store. And for the icons for like the raw crystals, we'll be using the Crystals Collection by Heroic Forge, and this is just a cool crystal collection, got a bunch of like raw uncut looking gems. And then for the crafting nodes, we'll be using translucent crystals by Sign VFX. So we'll have like the purple crystals for the crystal mine, and then like sort of like a yellowish sandstone crystal for the new tier of crystals. And finally, for the actual like polished versions of them, we'll be using this Sets Gems. Now, this Sets Gems is really cool because, like, if you look at this screenshot right here, it basically just looks like a bunch of like cheap sort of like low poly 2D icons, but that's totally not what they are. In fact, when you open them up in the editor, they are fully 3D and they look just rad. I mean, that is like a highly reflective, very cool looking diamond. So that will be what we'll be using for the polished versions of them. So let's get started. I've already basically downloaded all of these assets into my project here. So why don't we make the vendor girl first? So what we'll do is I've got basically like a bunch of vendors here, and they're all just using like standard humanoid models here. So this guy right here, the leather vendor unit, I'm just going to select him, and I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate his unit, and I am going to call this the jewelry vendor unit. And we're just going to open up the prefab here, and we'll delete the farmer model out of the prefab, and we will go down and change a few things. First of all, her name is going to be jewelry vendor, and we'll pick up whatever her unit frame target is here in a minute. She is a vendor and she has 0 prerequisite conditions for her use, and her vendor collection name will be jewelry, and we'll make that if it doesn't exist already, because it's going to be basically a list of like accessories and such. She is not a quest giver, so we can just remove that component, and that should actually be good for now. That should be all that we need to do for her. So then we need to actually find the model. So the model for her is in the Cat Leah folder, and in the Cat Leah folder we have some prefabs, and it's this clothing set 04 and naked set. So I'm just going to hit Control D to duplicate this, and I'm going to call this AnyRPG Jewelry Vendor Model. And we are going to add a character animation event receiver on it. And that's pretty much all that we should need to do to it, because she's humanoid and she's got a humanoid compatible avatar. So then we can pull her onto our jewelry vendor unit here, and we can scroll in and take a look at her. And wow, she's pretty short. She's like a meter tall, like 3 feet tall. Okay, cool. So then what we want to do is just pull this unit up, get a reference back to the character unit, and that should be all that we need to do. So then let's go over to this empty slot right here. We're just going to middle click on the ground, and then we're going to look for our jewelry vendor unit, and we're just going to pull her in right here, hit W, spin her around so she's sort of facing us, standing behind the counter there like a tiny little dwarf. Wow, she's like a child. Alright, well that's cool. We'll have like a child jewel crafter. I could probably, I almost feel like I need to double her size, but then she would kind of be like a giant jewel crafter. You know what, let me just, I just want to see how big. Wow. Yeah, no, now she's like way too big. I think for her, like values of 1.5 would probably be pretty decent. That's more about the size that you would sort of expect a humanoid to be, at least for a girl. In fact, I think let's actually do that. Let's go ahead and fix the size on her to make sure that animations will work properly. What we'll want to do is we'll want to go into the jewelry vendor model here. We'll want to select this clothing set and naked set. This actually comes from a mesh clothing set and naked set. So we'll go into model here. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to fix the size right now because the materials aren't set on this thing, and I would have to fix all the materials. She'll just be short. Yeah, we'll just leave her short for now. Okay, so let's actually test her, see if she works. we've got a jewelry collection called Leather Armor. A vendor collection called Leather Armor. Let me just see if we've got one called Jewelry. So, Leather Armor Collection. We'll find the folder that that's in, and we actually don't. We don't have a collection that includes jewelry or accessories at all. So let's go ahead and make one. What we can do is just Control D, duplicate any old vendor collection, and we will call this jewelry. And the vendor collection we'll name up here to jewelry. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to call that jewelry vendor collection, because that just makes it so much easier when you're searching for things in the inspector here. And she will have 3 items for now. And let's see. Item number 1 is the Initiate's Necklace. Item number 2 is the Earth Dweller's Necklace. And item number 3 is the Ancient Necklace. Okay, that should be good. So right now we should basically have an animated character that should be able to sell us 3 necklaces. Let's load the game and see if that works. Okay, so I need to find somebody who's over at the Sun Temple, so we'll just keep on looking until we find somebody. There's somebody over at the Sun Temple. Alright, so here we go. Here's our little dwarf jewelry vendor girl, and the humanoid model is working, it looks like. Let me just watch this animation here for a second. You know what, it's fine. She kind of is a child, eh? You can think like maybe she's like 14 or something. And yeah, cool. Animation looks good. If she had like any wrong problems with her bones, her arm would have stuck out really funny when she sort of wiped her mouth there. Cool. And let's see. I haven't adjusted the nameplate. I'm gonna have to pull it downwards because she's really short here. Let's click on her, and I forgot to set her unit frame target, so we're gonna have to fix that because you'll notice that we've got no unit frame for her up here. And jewelry, we've got some jewelry. We've got an Initiate's Necklace, we've got an Earth Dweller's Necklace, and we've got an Ancient Necklace. Perfect. Let's buy one of those things. Let's buy the Initiate's Necklace. There we go. We can buy an Initiate's Necklace from her. Awesome. So let's fix the nameplate, and let's fix the unit frame so we can see her face up here. And then we'll also do a bunch of other stuff. We'll add like a little workbench here, and we'll make it so that we can actually craft necklaces and we can buy like gems and stuff off of her. So to do that, we'll find our jewelry vendor unit. Yeah, we want the unit. And if we open up the prefab here, we'll see a nameplate, and We'll just move that down so it's right above her head. There we go. And then what we want to do is we want to make sure that that nameplate target is actually set. So here, we'll grab the nameplate and pull it over to the nameplate transform there. Okay, and then, you know what, I'm just going to suppress the faction on it too. We don't really care that she's unsworn like over her head. So next we want to actually get a reference to whatever her head is. So let's find her head. It's probably called like Bippo One Head, Girl Bone Head. All right, cool. And it Z forward, so that's good. So basically, we'll just Control C to copy the name of that bone, and we will Control V to drag girl bone underscore head into there. And our camera offset is going to be at 0.66Z, which means it'll be sort of like sitting right here in front of her. Okay, good. So now her unit is fully fixed, and now let's go ahead and add a workbench so that we can actually go craft some gems behind her. So we'll load up the Sun Temple here. And I need to find my bench. I believe it's called Alchemy Bench. There it is. Perfect. We're going to pull in the Alchemy Bench. I'm going to hit E to rotate it, hold down Control, swing it around 90 degrees, hit W to move it, and just sort of pull it so it's over there in the center, sort of against the back here. Okay, good. And then I want to select the Alchemy Bench because there's like a matching stool. So let's just go find a cool looking stool of like a matching type here. We have this little sort of stone bench here. That's actually kind of cool. This is actually called Crafting Table, interestingly enough. Let's keep looking. We'll find, I know there's like a couple stools and benches in this set here. Okay, so we got like a chair. You know what? Let's do a chair. Yeah. She can have a chair. And we'll just spin that one around. So E to rotate, Control, and spin it 90 degrees there. W to move it. Alright, that looks good. She's got a nice sort of comfortable chair to do her crafting with. Alright, and now what we want to do is we want to grab the toolkit and put the toolkit on top of that. So let's see. The toolkit is, I can actually find it here. It's part of our other regular crafting table interactable prefab here. And it's the toolbox, that's what it's called. So we're just going to select that. We're going to jump out of here. We've still got the toolbox here. We're going to pull that in. And I'm going to scale that down, make them look like little miniature tools. Now they look a lot more like jewel crafting tools, and let's just sort of spin that at a random angle so it doesn't look robotically placed. Good, now we have some tools on our table. Okay, and then what I want is I want some gems up on the top here. So we got some new crystal packs here. Let's see if I can find them. They're under props here. We have these sets gems. So I'm going to be crafting, let's see, well, we have 3 kind of gems in the game so far. So we'll be crafting today a yellow gem. And we want sort of a yellow squarish looking gem with like octagonal corners. This one is perfect. This is pretty much exactly what we'll be crafting. So we're just going to, wow. We're going to grab gem 02 here. We're going to bring it up and we're going to set the scale down to like 0.1 on all axes or something like that. Yeah, that's good. All right, and then we'll middle click on the table and Control Alt F to place it, and let's rotate it 90 degrees here. And middle click again and Control Alt F. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna have to manually drag it up a little bit here because, oh, you know what? We can just go to pivot. Let's see if the pivot's any better. Control Alt F. No, pivot's in the center as well. Okay, it's fine. We'll drag that up a little bit just so it's sort of sitting on top of this here. All right, good. And now we're going to be crafting a purple gem. So we'll go to the purple gems and probably grab like purple gem 02. Yep, perfect. We'll grab that. We'll pull it into the scene here. In the scene, we'll shrink the scale also down to 0.1. And we will rotate it like 90 degrees around. The x-axis here, and then just pull it up a little bit so it's sort of above the table. Okay, good. So now we got a nice purple gem here, and you know what? Let's hit E and just like rotate that a little bit, and we'll grab this one here and we'll rotate that sort of. There, now they're like a little more random looking. Okay, and then the next thing that we want is we'll want like some crystals as well. So we have a new set down here, and let's see if I can find it here. I think it was called, you know what, we want the Toon Crystals pack because I actually have the first crystals are from this one. Let's see if I can find, actually this is it right here, the gemstone 03. So we'll pull this into the scene as well. And I'm just gonna shrink the scale of that down to like 1. You know what, maybe 2? Yeah, perfect. And then we'll pull that over. And actually it looks like we need to sort of bring it up a little bit and maybe rotate it so that it's lying on somewhat of a flat edge here. So maybe pull that down and then rotate it like this way. There, now it looks pretty flat. Okay, and then we'll also want to stick like a blue crystal on here. So let's see if we can just find a good blue one. I think I found a blue one in the shape of the first one. There we go. This is pretty much the shape of what the first crystal looked like, the one that you can craft basically with the original crafting skill. Wow, these are really cool looking. So let's see if I can find that one again. There. So we'll grab gem 08 and we'll also pull that onto the table here and set the scale to 0.1, 0.1, 0.1, and then rotate that around the x-axis and then drag it up a little bit and then make it look a little bit more random, just sort of pull it over here. Perfect, so now we have basically all 3 tiers of gems in the game. We've got the blue gem, the purple gem, and the yellow gem, and then we have the raw blue gem. So now we just need the raw purple and the raw yellow gems. So we'll fold up that set's gems here and see if I can find, here we go, sign VFX. I'm going to actually just call that translucent crystals, just so it's easier to see at the top level. And here we've got a bunch of different colored crystals. So I think this is the yellow one here. Wow, sort of green. So we'll scale that one down to 0.1 on all axes. And then we've also got this purple one here, which is number 5. Oh, you know what? I don't know, 7 look more yellow? It's crazy. 3 is like glowing like mad. Oh well, for now I'm just going to find the purple crystal here. So we'll take crystal V05, which is the purple one, and then we'll scale that down to 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. And let's just move it up like a little bit here. And then maybe rotate it like so it's sort of fallen over and laying on its side. Kind of like that. Alright, and then we'll grab this one right here and we'll do the same thing. We'll just sort of roll it over a little bit so it's laying on its side. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, so now we got all the rock crystals and stuff. So now what we just need is just basically a whetstone in order to actually do our crafting with. I think that was it. Let me see. We have the bench, we got the toolbox, we missing the whetstone, we got the girl. Okay, yeah, we still need the icons. So we'll still create like the nodes and stuff like that too. Okay, great. So let's actually make a little whetstone so you can actually do some crafting back here, and so you can actually craft the jewels and stuff. So to do that, we will search for crafting table. We'll grab the existing crafting table interactable prefab. We'll hit Control D to duplicate it, and we're going to call this whetstone interactable prefab. We'll open up the prefab and we'll get rid of basically everything that's inside of it. There's already an existing stone grinding wheel, but I want sort of a cooler looking one. And in fact, actually, let's just pull that cooler looking one in so we can see it first. So we actually have like a couple of whetstones available to us. We can pull in this one. This one's kind of like low poly though, not super great. And then we've got this one, which is the one that I really want. There we go. That's perfect, right? It's kind of like half stylized, not too low poly, and it looks perfect for grinding gems. So what we'll do is we'll take out the existing stone grinding wheel. We will take out the whetstone. We will reset the transform on this whetstone, hit F, and check the nameplate here. Nameplate looks okay. This nameplate's at a Y value of 1.777, which means this whetstone is actually a little bit big right now. It's probably about 2 meters tall. So what we want to do is we'll actually want to scale this thing down then, probably to like 0.25. Then if we look at the nameplate and we drag it down, we're looking for a value of maybe like 0.5 meter or something like that. Yeah, so this thing's like maybe 1.5 feet tall. That's probably pretty good. It might look a little bit big, but we can adjust that later. So next we want to make sure that it's got the right stuff on it here. So we'll call it whetstone. It will glow on mouse over. We have a box collider. The box collider is way too big, so size is going to be 1, 1, 1. Height is going to be at y of 0.5. Size is going to be 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Height is going to be at y of 0.25. Perfect. Okay, good. And it's not a trigger, so that's good. We only need a single crafting node on here, so we're going to remove all the extra crafting nodes that have the crafting that we don't need. The only crafting that we actually need on this thing is jewelry. There it is. So we'll remove all other crafting nodes. So the display name is crafting table, and the nameplate transform is set. Perfect. So now, you know what? We want unit frame target. Actually, that's fine. So basically, we'll be staring at a y offset of, let's make it 0.25, and we'll be staring at it from 1 and 1. So basically, we'll be sort of sitting there at like a 45-degree angle from this corner, looking down on it like that. Okay, good. I'm pretty happy with that. So now we need to take that whetstone interactable prefab here and pull it onto the table. And you know what? I think that looks great. I think that looks really good. Turn the handle a little bit. You know what? Let's just turn it a little bit more. It looks like it's kind of having trouble fitting in that direction. It's like bumping up against the back there. Perfect. Okay. Awesome. So now we have a whetstone, a toolbox, and a bunch of gems. This is looking really good. Okay, so now we need to actually be able to buy the jewels and make the gems. And we need to be able to make the necklaces out of the finished gems as well. So let's do that. To do that, we need to add some recipes to the game. So we have a recipe in here called the polished blue gem recipe. And I'm going to hit Control D. We are going to make a polished purple gem, a shiny polished purple gem. And the recipe will require 1 purple crystal, and the output name is going to be a polished purple gem, and the crafting ability is jewelry. So we'll rename that to polished purple gem recipe. And then we'll want to make a polished yellow gem recipe. So polished yellow gem recipe. And we'll set this to polished yellow gem and a shiny polished yellow gem. It will require a yellow crystal, and it will be a polished yellow gem as the item output from the recipe. Next, what we will need is we will need recipes for the Earth Dwellers necklace. And the ancient necklace, which will include these gems in them. So, Earth Dwellers necklace. And this is a necklace adorned with a purple gem from under the earth. And we don't actually have anything other than iron as a metal resource in the game right now, so iron bar is fine for one of the required materials. And we will require a polished purple gem. The output name will be Earth Dwellers necklace, the same as the name of the recipe, and this requires jewelry. We'll hit Control D, and next we want to make the ancient necklace. So we'll make the ancient necklace recipe. And actually, you know what? I'm going to tag the word recipe onto that so that when we're looking at it in the inspector, we know that this isn't the ancient necklace, but the ancient necklace recipe. So change this to ancient necklace, a necklace adorned with a yellow gem made of sandstone, I guess. And it requires a polished yellow gem, and the output is going to be the ancient necklace. Okay, so far so good. We'll save that. Now we have the recipes, and we can make our necklaces and such. So the next thing that we will want to do is the crystals. We don't have the crystals yet, so the polished blue gem recipe requires a blue stone. So let's go look at the blue stone. And we're just going to hit Control D to duplicate that. That's an item that you get from mining. We are going to call this one, next one, the purple crystal. Change the name up here to purple crystal. And let's see, a raw uncut purple crystal. The resource description profile will be purple crystal, and we'll have to go create that. Okay, so we'll find that tiny uncut, what was it? If we look at the blue stone, it was using tiny blue gem. And we're looking for the tiny blue gem description. We will make one called a purple crystal description. And this is basically the regional settings for the purple crystal, which includes its name, in this case in English, and the actual icon. So we have some crystal icons. Let's see if we can find them. Here they are, and we'll use purple crystal. I don't think we need it any bigger than like 256 by 256. Okay, looking good. Interestingly enough, we actually have a second, another purple crystal, and it's using something crystal 01. Okay, that's a large purple crystal. So let's actually change that to large purple crystal. And just to make sure that we don't have any naming clashes, because it actually does matter if we have duplicate names. They won't work properly. So this is the purple crystal item, and this is the regular new purple crystal description. Okay, perfect. And so we want to do the same thing basically. We want a purple crystal description, we want a yellow crystal description as well. So we'll make a new one called the yellow crystal description. Yellow crystal. And we're looking for the yellow crystal 256. There. Okay, so now we have the icons for both of those. We have the purple crystal. I don't know, did we create the yellow crystal item yet? Not yet. So we're going to Control D to duplicate the purple crystal item and call it the yellow crystal item. So I'm going to make the item quality on these rare. And let's see, purple crystals come from the mine. So basically they're an item level 12 item. And this is just going to control the price basically because it's going to be X number of silver per item level. And then for the yellow crystal item, these are from the Temple of Ancient Energy, which is item level capped at 20 for those items. So now these things will adjust basically their price because they're rare. And that should be good. We have the blue stone, and I'm going to make this one uncommon because it creates an uncommon quality item. And this has an item level cap of 8, just so we get the price automatically adjusted on that. So now we have the crystals. We'll want to actually be able to buy them from our jewelry vendor, and I want to buy the gems from her as well. So we'll go to the jewelry vendor collection here, and I'm going to Control D and make a gems vendor collection. And we'll call it gems. And it will have the polished blue gem, polished yellow gem, polished purple gem. Okay. We will also want a, let's see, we have crafting supplies, but that's way too broken up. Why don't we make one called jewelry supplies? And the jewelry supplies can have, we need a very minimum iron bar. Actually, we need the crystals as well, so we need blue stone, purple crystal, and yellow crystal. And in fact, why don't we just put the gems in here as well? So we'll have polished blue gem, polished purple gem, and polished yellow gem. Okay, so now we have basically the vendor collection. So she'll have jewelry and jewelry supplies. So let's go to our jewelry vendor unit, and we'll give her a second vendor collection called jewelry supplies. And our gems need icons. So let's just see here. We have the polished blue gem item. I haven't actually created the items for the other gems yet. So we'll need to Control D to duplicate this item. And this will be polished purple gem item. And we'll have to change this to polished purple gem. We'll create that resource description. The gem itself, yeah, we'll have double the price. And the item level for the purple gem is 12. The item level for the blue gem is 8. The item quality is uncommon. The item quality for the purple one is rare. And then we'll want the polished yellow gem item. And item level for the yellow one is 20. Okay, good. So now we just need to make the resource descriptions for those. So the resource description for gem is where we should put it, because we already had, this was basically the blue gem. So I'm just going to Control D to duplicate that. And I'm going to call it the polished purple gem description. And up here, polished purple gem. And for the icon, we're going to grab gem 5, I think. I don't know what 1x and 5x and 0.5x mean precisely. You know what? These all look like slightly different. It's kind of hard to tell though. I think basically 1x is probably like 1028 by 1028, because if you look at this, I'm pretty sure this is like a 64 by 64. So 0.25x would be like 128, and 0.5 is going to be like 256. So that's what we want. We'll use gem5 0.5x. And I need to fix the spelling of purple there. Okay, and then we need to Control D to duplicate polished purple gem description. And we'll make it the polished yellow gem description. Change that to polished yellow gem and grab yellow gem 0.5, which is actually kind of an orange gem, but it's yellow enough for our needs. Okay, good. So now I think we have everything we need in order to basically buy what we need from her and then test out whether we can make these necklaces and equip them or not. So let's go to the Lost Soul Load Game Manager here, and we'll load up the game. Oh, we have an issue here. Duplicate key name purple crystal. So I forgot to change a description somewhere, and I forgot to look for an item, get an item yellow crystal. Okay. So if we look at purple crystal. This is purple crystal item and yellow crystal item. I forgot to change that. This should say yellow crystal, and this should say yellow crystal, and this should also say yellow crystal. Okay, better. Now those errors will go away, and we should be able to try this out now. So we'll find our girl over at the Sun Temple here. And now we have a crafting table apparently. I think I forgot to change something here, and man, this is really cool. These crystals are actually glowing, and you know what? I'm really happy with that. That yellow crystal, it looked like super way too bright in the original view, and it looks like just awesome now. And these purple crystals, wow, that's so cool looking. All right, very, very cool. And then we have like the blue one here, and then we have some example cut gems. This is a very, very nice little crafting area made with 100% free assets. So let's go talk to our jewelry vendor, and now we have jewelry supplies, and we can buy some iron bars. We can buy, wow, this is awesome. The gem, the price scaling. I love the price scaling. It makes things so much easier now that we can just basically set like a auto price per item quality and per level, and have the price of these things like scale up for us. So let's buy something here. We've got 10 gold. We want to buy 2 iron bars. Yeah, we'll buy 3. We want to buy a raw blue stone, a purple crystal, and a yellow crystal. And then we want to try basically crafting these things. I'm just going to save the game, and this needs to be changed from crafting table for some reason. I thought I changed it to whetstone everywhere. So let's go look at our whetstone interactable prefab, because apparently something still says crafting table. Oh, right there, display name, whetstone. Okay, better. Let's save that. And actually, what I need to do is I need to set the layer on this thing to interactable, and yes, change children. So that's necessary so that it'll show up in basically the unit frame. So I'll demonstrate that now. Essentially our unit frame camera ignores everything that's not on like the character unit or player unit or interactable layer, so that our unit frames aren't taking up a whole pile of processing power and slowing down our frame rates. So you can see now if I click on the crafting on the whetstone, I'm actually looking down at it. I think I could actually look at it from a little bit closer here. It's like really zoomed out. Also our jewelry vendor, I can actually, you know what? I can like barely even see her. Kind of. I think our jewelry vendor, I think I actually have to change her layer to character unit as well, so that she'll show up properly here. So let's craft. We want the initiate's necklace. So we're going to craft that. No, we need to make some gems first. Okay, so I have 3 blue stones. I need to make a polished blue gem, so we're going to craft one of those. Alright, and then I need to make a polished purple gem, so we're going to craft one of those. And then we're going to make a polished yellow gem, and I'll craft one of those. And if you noticed, the gem that showed up in my character's hand every time was blue. In the next episode, I am actually going to make that so that you can actually have like the proper yellow items. So if you're like making a sword, you'll have the actual sword show up in your hand, you know. If you're making a gem, you'll have like the actual gem show up in your hand. It's going to be super cool. So now I've got my polished blue gem, my polished purple gem, and my polished yellow gem. So let's make some necklaces now. So we'll go to the Initiate's necklace and we'll craft that. We'll go to the Earth Dweller's necklace and we will craft that. And we will go to the Ancient necklace and we will craft that. Okay, super cool. There's my Ancient necklace. Here's my Earth Dweller's necklace, capped at level 12. Here's my Initiate's necklace at level 8. Okay, next thing that we want to do is we want to actually be able to go mine those ingredients. So let's save the game here. And yeah, this is awesome. I'm loving this little thing. Like, it's so cool, like what you can make if you're willing to put in the effort with like all of the free assets in the game, because there's so many like good ones basically. And if you put them all together, you can really just make something really cool and amazing here. I'm just going to paste in that screenshot because that screenshot looks just awesome. Yeah, very colorful. Okay, so let's go add the mining nodes now. We need to add some mining nodes so we can go collect this stuff out in the world. So what we're going to do is, we've already got some mining nodes. We've got an iron mining node right here. I'm going to just hit Control D to duplicate the iron mining node. We're going to call this one a purple crystal mining node. And then the interactable name is going to be purple crystals. The loot table name is going to be purple crystal. The spawn timer is going to be like long time, like 60 seconds. The ability name is going to be mining. Perfect, and that's it. Okay, good. And then, you know what? I think somewhere here there's a prefab that I have to use. Prefab profile. We need to make a prefab profile of purple crystal. Okay, Control D to duplicate, and we'll make a yellow crystal mining node. Prefab profile name, yellow crystal. Title, yellow crystals. The loot table is yellow crystal. Ability is mining. Just a second, this is not a trigger. I might have made it a trigger basically. Oh, you know what? You know why it's a trigger, I think? I think it's a trigger because, let's see if we hit F to focus on it. We don't see anything. It's a 0, 0, 0. I think I made it a trigger basically because the item that spawns inside already has a mesh collider, and technically we don't want to walk around a box. We actually want to walk like on the mesh of the actual iron mining node itself. So you know what? Maybe I will keep these as triggers then. In this case, it's going to be rather small. Let's open up the purple crystal mining node. We'll just drag one of those purple crystals in here just for testing here. So let's see if we can go find one of those. That'll be in our third-party content here under translucent crystals. I believe crystal 5 was the purple one. Maybe that was the yellow one. It's certainly very white looking. Okay, so if we look at our box collider here, this crystal is humongous. So first, I guess we'll want to actually scale this crystal down. So let's make a box collider with a center of 0.5 and a size of 111, just to start. So we'll set the crystal to like 0.2, 0.2, 0.2, and just look at it here. Okay, so now the crystal is about 1 meter tall. This is, that's about the size that we want it, basically. So that's actually pretty good for the box collider. So we'll delete that because we'll actually have it spawn from this prefab profile name of purple crystal. So if we look at the iron mining node, it spawns a prefab profile called iron rock. This is an iron rock prefab. We will go into the same directory and we will make a purple crystal prefab. We'll set the resource name to purple crystal, and the prefab is going to be one of these crystals here. 8 looks pretty purple. I need to actually go look through the directories that those are in, because if we see them in here, there we go. Okay, good. So there's 3. Okay, 5 is definitely purple, and 3 was the one that I used for sandstone. Okay, good. So 5 is the right choice. So for the scale, 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. And everything else looks good. Oh, you know what? Except for that number. This is supposed to be 5. And then for the yellow crystal prefab, we will hit Control D to duplicate this. Make a yellow crystal prefab. Change that to crystals 3. Oh, okay, interesting. I see there's 2 crystals version 3. There's a translucent crystal prefab and there's a gamma. Okay, cool. Anyway, that's good. So let's go place some of these mining nodes. To do that, the purple crystal mining node should go at the mana seal. So let's go open up the mana seal. And let's go hide some mining nodes around here. So we'll hide some crystals like right in the corner or like down here somewhere. And just a second, my box collider is wrong on this one. This is supposed to be 0.5111, and it's supposed to be a trigger. Okay, that's better. All right, and then let's see, we'll hide like another one. Wonder, can we even walk in there? I think we probably can. It's kind of neat. Let's go hide one like right here. So we'll just Control D to duplicate and Control Alt F because we just middle clicked there. And maybe we'll hide another mining node like over here. Control D, Control Alt F. Maybe a little bit more down here, like right there. Control Alt F, perfect. And then that should be pretty good. I think that's enough. So now we've got some mining nodes here in the desert with our purple crystals, or I mean with our yellow crystals, and let's actually just create an empty, reset the transform on it, call it mining nodes, and then pull all those crystals into it. Okay, great. And then I'm contemplating whether I want to put some purple crystals like in the basement of the Temple of Ancient Energy, but it doesn't really make too much sense in there, so we'll just leave them here in this zone for now. Let's go to the crystal mine next, and we'll open that up and we'll go place some mining nodes in here. So how about like over here in the corner by these purple crystals, we'll stick some of our purple crystals. So we'll grab a purple crystal mining node and stick it right there. Perfect. And then we will create a new empty, reset the transform, call it, apparently the level doesn't want to let me save. What's going on here? Save. Okay, I can't rename that. Now I can rename it. That is really odd. Okay, this is going to be called nothing because I still can't rename it. Every once in a while, Unity has this bug where it just refuses to let me rename things like that. You know what it is? It's actually unselecting it. It's jumping. The window is like losing focus and selecting something else, and I have no idea what. So let's just pull the purple crystal mining node under there and see. I still can't rename it. Okay, no big deal, whatever. Let's throw a couple more of these, like just sort of randomly throughout the dungeon. You know what? Right over here, right at the end of this bit right here. This looks like a good place for one. Let's have one like right in the corner here. So Control D, middle click, Control Alt F. All right, and then we'll go a little bit further up the dungeon. Let's put one like at the end right here. Middle click, Control D, Control Alt F. Good enough. And then we'll put one like right at the top too. So when you first come into the dungeon, like right here, right behind you, Control D, Control Alt F, and there will be some purple crystals hanging out right here. Okay, good. So let's save that, and then let's jump back into the game and go try to harvest some of these purple crystals. And it looks like I forgot, once again, to update something so that it says purple crystal. This should say yellow crystal. Alright. Save that and press play. So what we want is we want somebody who can get to the mana seal fairly easily. So our warrior here is basically like right at the entrance to the mana seal. So let's just go take off, leave the dungeon, and head out to the mana seal. Alright, cool. We got a null reference issue here. We're just going to fix that. Okay, so combat log UI.myInstance does not equal null apparently. Alright, let's try that again. Just going to save it at the bottom of the stairs here. Wow. Okay, so let's see. I actually have to add, I have to fix a couple of things here. I haven't been back to this level since I added a new feature called unit audio sources, and I need to actually make a reference to this thing so that my game doesn't complain. And it's only the discharged Lunamech units, so I think we're safe here. Let's try that again. Okay, much better. No errors. So we'll go up the stairs here, and basically, that's cool. I see a mining node, so let's try to go find it here. Looking on my map, it's like, whoa, yeah, there we go. There's the mining node. And I don't think it's actually paying attention to the size. This is a really huge yellow crystal here. Okay, so I think I actually forgot to create the loot table because basically nothing happened. And that means that likely there's actually a bug with that. So if I look at the iron mining node, we've got this is the loot table. We're going to call this iron mining node loot table. You know what, just loot's fine. And I think I forgot to do the yellow crystal and purple crystal loot, so Control D. Yellow crystal loot, and the yellow crystal loot will just have one, and the only thing it's going to give you is a yellow crystal with a min and max of 1. And then we're going to hit Control D, and we need the purple crystal loot. and this should actually say purple crystal. It should drop one purple crystal, and this should say yellow crystal, and it should drop one yellow crystal. Okay, much better. And so I think my mining node has an issue, because if we look at this and we're saying we have a loot table and we didn't manage to successfully get a reference to that loot table, so let's just see when we translate loot table names. There. Okay, so I just actually need to put an error in here, because we should basically be warning the user about this. So basically, could not find loot table plus loot table name while initializing loot node. Good, and then now it'll actually like pause and tell me if I made a reference to an invalid loot table. Okay, let's try this again, and I'm not going to worry about the crystal spawn size. I think I'll fix that at some other point, but for now we should at least be able to loot the crystals from those mining nodes. So I think I forgot to save it after I walked out of the dungeon last time. Okay, perfect. We're going to save it right here, and we're going to try this again. There we go, yellow crystal. Take all, and I got a yellow crystal in my bag. Awesome. Let's save that again, and let's actually head back to the Soul Forge, and we'll get ourselves over to Crystal Mine. And we'll go check just to make sure that we can loot those purple crystals in Crystal Mine. So we've got a nice teleport crystal here to take us over to Crystal Mine. And there's our purple crystal. And we can mine it. You know, I actually kind of like the fact that these crystals are like giant. It's like this massive, cool looking thing. Anyway, we'll take that, and now we have a purple crystal in our bag, and we know that the crafting works. So I'm happy with that. That was lots of fun. We now have like a really cool jeweler vendor, and we just, discovered a whole pile of really awesome free assets along the way. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then don't forget to thumbs up the video, subscribe to the AnyRPG YouTube channel, or just leave a note in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.